Let's get you ready for your Georgia motorcycle knowledge test. According to Georgia law, who is required to wear a compliant helmet? All operators and passengers. Georgia is a universal helmet law state. No matter your age or experience, the helmet must be compliant. Next question. If your motorcycle is not equipped with a windshield, what does Georgia law require? Approved eye protection, goggles or face shield. Wind, debris, and insects at highway speeds can easily blind a rider. Georgia law ensures your vision remains clear. Let's move on. In Georgia, is lane splitting, riding between lanes of traffic, legal? No, it is illegal. As of 2026, both lane splitting and lane filtering, at stoplights, remain strictly prohibited in Georgia. Next point, how many motorcycles are legally allowed to ride abreast in a single lane in GA? 2. While lane sharing is legal for 2 bikes, you must never share a lane with a car or truck. Let's keep going. What is the maximum height for handlebars in Georgia? 25 inches above the seat. Note that as of early 2026, new legislation, HB 461, has been proposed to change this, but the 25-inch limit is the current standing rule. Next question. When carrying a passenger, Georgia law requires the motorcycle to have a dedicated seat and footrests for the passenger. You cannot legally carry a passenger unless the bike is specifically equipped to support them safely. Let's move on. What is the minimum following distance recommended under ideal conditions? 2 seconds. This provides a safe cushion to react to the vehicle ahead, though you should increase this in poor weather. Next point. How far ahead should a motorcycle rider scan for potential hazards? 12 seconds. Looking far ahead allows you to spot problems before they become emergencies. Let's keep going. Which brake provides the most stopping power? The front brake. The front brake provides about 70% of your total stopping power, but both should be used together for maximum effect. Next question. What is the best lane position to be seen by a driver directly ahead of you? The center of the lane. This puts you directly in the driver's rearview mirror where you are most likely to be noticed. Let's move on. When riding in a group, what is the safest formation? Staggered formation. This maximizes the space around each rider while keeping the group tight enough to prevent cars from cutting in. Next point. When should you check your motorcycle's tires and lights? Before every ride. A mechanical failure at 60 miles per hour is much more dangerous on 2 wheels than on 4. Let's keep going. If your throttle sticks, what should you do first? Twist it back and forth or use the engine cutoff switch. Your immediate goal is to cut the power so you can safely bring the bike to a stop. Next question. What is the T-CLOCKS inspection used for? A pre-ride vehicle inspection. It stands for tires, controls, lights, oil, fluids, chassis, and stand. Let's move on. In a staggered formation, where does the leader ride? The left third of the lane. The leader takes the left to see further ahead, while the second rider follows in the right third. Next point. When riding over slippery surfaces like gravel or ice, you should avoid quick changes in speed or direction. Smooth, gradual inputs are the only way to maintain traction when the surface is loose. Let's keep going. To cross railroad tracks that are parallel to your path, you should cross at an angle of at least 45 degrees. This prevents your tires from getting caught in the track grooves. Next question. What is the best way to handle a wobble at high speeds? Grip the handlebars firmly and ease off the throttle. Do not fight the wobble or apply the brakes, as this can make the vibration worse. Let's move on. In Georgia, do motorcycles have the right to a full lane width? Yes. Other drivers are legally required to treat a motorcycle like a full-sized vehicle. Next point. When riding at night, you should reduce your speed to stay within your headlights' reach. Overdriving your headlights means you won't see an obstacle in time to stop for it. Let's keep going. What is engine braking? Shifting down through gears to slow down. This uses the engine's compression to reduce speed without relying solely on the friction brakes. Next question. If you have a tire blowout, you should hold the handle grips firmly and stay off the brakes. Gradually close the throttle and let the bike slow down on its own to maintain stability. Let's move on. When stopping in a curve, you should try to get the motorcycle upright before braking. Braking hard while leaning is a primary cause of losing traction and sliding out. Next point. To turn a motorcycle at speeds above 15 miles per hour, you must countersteer. Press the grip in the direction of the turn. Pushing left to go left may feel counterintuitive at first, but it is the only way to lean a bike at speed. Let's keep going. Where should you look when making a turn? Through the turn to where you want to go. Your bike will naturally follow your eyes. Never look down at the front tire. Next question. If an animal runs in your path, what is the safest action? Slow down and maintain your path if possible. Swerving sharply for a small animal often causes a more dangerous crash than a collision would. Let's move on. When being passed by another vehicle, which lane position is usually best? The center of the lane. This maintains your lane pride and discourages the passing vehicle from crowding into your space. Next point. What does it mean to load the suspension before a turn? Applying light braking before leaning. This settles the bike's weight and readies the tires for the cornering forces. Let's keep going. In Georgia, are turn signals required on all motorcycles? Yes, if manufactured after 1972. Vintage bikes built before 1972 are exempt, but most riders still use hand signals for safety. Next question. What is the most likely place for a collision between a car and a motorcycle? Intersections. Drivers often look for cars and miss the smaller profile of a motorcycle. Let's move on. Why is the center of the lane sometimes oily? Leaks from cars and trucks collect there. This is especially dangerous during the first few minutes of rain when the oil floats to the surface. Next point. When riding over a bridge grate, you should ride straight and avoid abrupt moves. The bike may feel like it is wandering, but as long as you stay relaxed, it will track straight. Let's keep going. How should you adjust your riding when carrying a heavy load? Increase following distance and tire pressure. Extra weight changes your handling and increases the distance you need to stop. Next question. What is the primary cause of motorcycle low-side crashes? Losing front or rear traction in a lean. This usually happens from carrying too much speed or applying brakes mid-turn. Let's move on. What should you do if your front wheel locks during braking? Release the brake and reapply it immediately. A locked front wheel will cause a crash almost instantly if not corrected. Next point. To avoid a collision, a quick swerve should be done without braking. Trying to swerve and brake at the same time will likely overwhelm your tire's traction. Let's keep going. When parking at a curb, you should park at a 45 to 90 degree angle with the rear tire to the curb. This makes it easier to pull out and ensures your bike is visible to other parkers. Next question. How often should you check your mirrors? Frequently, every few seconds. Your rear view is just as important as the road ahead to avoid being rear-ended. Let's move on. In Georgia, is it legal to use a modulating, pulsing headlight? Yes, during daylight hours. These are legal under federal law and help you stand out to oncoming traffic. Next point. When following a vehicle at night, what should you use to see the road ahead? Their taillights. The movement of the vehicle ahead can warn you of potholes or debris before your headlight hits them. Let's keep going. If you are forced to ride over an object, you should rise slightly off the seat and keep the bike straight. Using your legs as shock absorbers helps keep the bike stable during the impact. Next question. What color are the most effective safety vests for visibility? Fluorescent orange or lime green? High visibility gear significantly reduces the "I didn't see him" excuse from drivers. Let's move on. When starting on an uphill, which brake is most helpful? The rear brake. Using the rear brake keeps the bike from rolling back while your hands manage the throttle and clutch. Next point. What is surface suction when being passed by a large truck? Wind that pulls you toward the truck. Be prepared to lean slightly away from the truck as it passes to counter the air pressure. Let's keep going. When riding in very hot weather, you should drink plenty of water and wear protective gear. Dehydration causes fatigue and slow reaction times. Don't skip the gear just because it's hot. Next question. What should you do if your motorcycle's chain breaks? Close the throttle and coast to a stop. Keep your feet up and maintain balance as the bike loses speed. Let's move on. Can you legally carry a package in your arms while riding in GA? No, both hands must be on the bars. Georgia law requires you to keep both hands free for directional control. Next point. What is the path of least resistance in a curve? The outside-inside-outside line. This line increases your curve radius and allows for the smoothest travel through the turn. Let's keep going. If you suspect a driver is going to pull out in front of you, you should move away from them and ready your brakes. Anticipating the mistake gives you the split second you need to avoid the crash. Next question. What is the main purpose of the Georgia Approve helmet sticker? To show it meets safety standards. A dot sticker is the only way for law enforcement to verify your helmet is legal and safe. That concludes the 50-question Georgia